在介绍呢，我
And
们的
the
下一
next
位呢，
speaker
讲者呢也是非常特别，是
is
这
also a
个
special one.
雷雨这个雷雨席，
And
他是这个
she's
材料乘
Lei
以设
Yuxi,
计
and
NANOxARCH 的
the
创始人兼首
founder and
席
CEO
执
of
行官。这个
NANOxARCH.
雷执行官呢，他是源于材料这个
So
公司源于材料研究的背景，跟
the
对如
company,
何从
or
材
she
料角
is
度来跟空间
of
做一个材料系
material
统的这个
background,
产品系统，
and it's
成为
about
这个人类跟环境都有更健
how
康、更亲密
they
的
contribute
媒
to
介
a
这
better
样的一个
relationship
关系呢。
between
他自
environment
己从
and
2011年开始
people
在美国
through
研
means of
读
material.
这个读
So
研的期间就开始筹备
during
材料乘以设计这个
her
公司，
study
在
to
2018年正
a
式成立了
master's degree,
再造
she already
再
started
造
the
的空间
exploration. In
深圳材料
2018,
设计有限公司。
they
那材料
formed
以这个
the
它这个
Shenzhen Design Institute of
Nano by
Material
Arc 是它的
Space,
这个
and
材料设计是一
Nano
个
by
品
Arc
牌。那雨
is
琦呢
a
曾入选
material
2020年
brand,
Theta
and she was elected
Generation T 它的亚洲新
the
锐先
Tater
锋榜单。
Generation
2019年是
list
这
in
个
2020, and in
Homeward
2019,
Bound 全球女科学家
it
气
was
候变化南极行动项目2018年
one
福
of
布斯
the
中国
members
30
of
岁以下
uh,
的精
you
英
know
榜单。
South Polar
2017年哈佛
climate
Seed
change
是这个
project,
社会
and
创新
he also
种子的
got
社区
elected
Fellow， 也
by
是他也是
the
其中的一位。 他毕业于
Forbes
美国
Youth List in
University of New
2018,
Hampshire 化学
and
硕
he
士
graduated
的
from the
奈米材料
University of
研究方
Hampshire
向，跟中南民族大
in
学的
chemical
材
and
料化学
physics, and
学
also
士。
he
我们接
graduated
下来
from
将听到
South
从如何从
Mid-South
企业
University
和设计师更
of
快
the
更简
peoples,
单用到可
and
视的
she will
可持
talk
续材
about
料。所以
sustainable
刚
material
刚
design
接
for
续我们这个
sustainable
图页设计
business
师的内容，
development.
我相
I
信呢
think it's
他能够
also
跟我们
kind
做
of
分
an
享分
extension
享。
of the previous
现在我
topic.
们欢迎
So I will give
这
the
个
floor to
雷雨
Ms.
琦。
Lei.
好的，谢谢苏老师的介绍。
Thank you for the
大家好，
introduction,
我叫
Ms.
雨
Su.
琦，然后我们
So
公
my
司的
name is
名字可
Yuxi,
能最开始
and
看的时候有点拗口，
maybe
就
when
是
you
因
look
为
at the
我自
name
己
of the
本身是
company,
学纳
it's
米
a
材
bit
料的，但是对于先进
difficult,
设计
right?
有一定
Because
很大
I
兴
learned
趣，
nano
所以这个 ARC 代
material,
表
but
就是
I'm really
architecture， 那
interested
它也是在
in
2011年诞生的一个名字。
the
当时我们想探索的
design.
就是
So
怎么
ARC,
从
that
可持
means
续的角
architecture.
度，
So
让
we
空
thought
间
of
可以
how
成
we
为能够
use
让里面的人类
sustainable
跟外面的环
approaches
境都更加健康，
to
但同时
enable
呢，也成为
better
一个 medium 媒
space
介的
for
角
the
色，
people
要
and
让里面的
also
人跟
the
外面的
nature,
环
so
境
that
都能
the
彼此更加
space
的
can
亲
act
密。
as a
所以
media
是这样的一个
to
初衷，
have more
最后呢，我们
harmonious
2018年成立
relationship
的公司。
between
那虽然我
the
们现在
people
在
and the
做的
nature.
事情呢
We were
跟纳
founded
米
in
没有什么关
2018.
系，但我们还是保留
Although
这个纳
our
米
work
作为它的一
doesn't have
个
a lot to
品
do
牌。
with
我们的
nanomaterial,
中
but
文
we
呢就
still
比较
obtained
直
that
接了，就叫材
in
料乘以
English
设计。
name, Nano
那我
by
们就是
Arc.
一个站
So
在
in
材料跟
Chinese,
设计
it's
中间的
more
角色。
like
那具体是怎么样的角
material
色呢？后
multiplied
面
by
大家都会
design.
知道。
So
那首
we
先开篇呢
are
问大家一
actually
个
the
问
bridge
题，
between the two.
在地
So
球上
here's the
我们什么
question.
样的原材料是可以
What
取
is
资
the
源去
most
不减的呢？
abundant raw
我们现
material
在
on
在
this
想到材
planet
料的时
that
候，
is
比如想到
endless?
空间，
So
大
when
家
it
可能
comes to
最想到的
material,
是用竹
especially
子，
when it comes
但
to
竹子它
space,
生长周
we may
期
think
也
of
是
using
需要6
bamboo,
个月，
but
对
bamboo
吧？
also
那这
needs
种情况
6
下，
months
假
of
设大家
growth.
都开始来用
So
竹子，竹
hypothetically,
子
if
成为了
everybody
非
starts
常
to
爆款的
use
材料。
bamboo
这种时
and
候
it's
呢，
becoming
它
a
在
hit
一段时
material,
间之内，它
then
也会成为
within
一
a certain
个
period of
不可
time,
再生的材料，因为它的
bamboo
生长
will
需要的
also
时
not
间。
be
那所以什
recoverable
么样
because
的
it
才
needs
是
time
真
to
正
grow.
意义上取
So
取
what
资源
kind
去
of
不减呢？
material is
其实就
actually
是各种各样
endless?
的垃圾、
Actually,
垃
it's
圾、废垃
waste.
圾。
Waste, all
那
types
所
of
以呢，我们就
waste.
在想，是否我们可以把垃圾废料作为一
So
个来源，把
can
它
we
生产成
use
各种
waste
各
as
样
a
的
source
产
to
品，各
produce
种各
it
样的材
into
料，
all kinds
来
of
用在我们
product or
现在的
material
产品设
so that we
计
can
或者
use
是
it
空间
in
设
the
计的
product
场景
design
中，
or in
以
the
此来
space
去完成。
design?
就好像我们现在人类用
It's
所有的
just
材料
like
都是一次性的、
people
线
when
性的在
they
用，
use
我们
material,
拿了
it's
地球的
linear
资源
use,
过
it's
来，
single
做成
serving.
我们要
We
的东
get
西。
the
无论它
resource
是
from
一
the
件
earth,
衣
we
服，
make
还
it
是一
into
个
things
房
like
子。
clothing
那用
or
完了
a
之后呢，
house.
基本它就是
When we
会回
after
到了一个
when
垃圾
after
的状
using,
态，也就是我们基
basically
本
it
就
goes into the
不会去
trash.
再利
It's
用它，
wasted.
利用的可
Normally
能
we
性
don't
不
recycle it,
基本就是焚烧填埋。
and
但
basically
是
we
你
just
回归去
incinerate
看
them
到
or
大自然，大
let
自
it go
然
to
中
landfill.
所有的物
But
质
if
是
you look at the
自然
nature,
一直在进行，
everything
这是
is
个零
in
废弃的
circle.
状态。而
There is
严格意义
zero
上，其实
waste.
人类也是这个星
And
球上唯
strictly
一的物
speaking,
种在产生真正意义上的垃
human
圾。
being
所以
is
呢，我们就
actually
在
the
想，
only
能不
species
能
that is
让
creating
有一
garbage
天
on
人
the
类
earth.
使用材
So
料的
maybe
方式
one
像大自
day
然一样，是
when
可
we
以降
use
低
the
废气。
material, we
所以是
can
因
be
为这样
like
的一个
that in
远景
nature
吧，然后我们来做的这
we
样的
don't
一
have
个
any
事
waste.
情。
So that is our
那我们
concept,
最
and
后
we
呢，就
started
是很
doing
希
it.
望我们现在的这个
And
用
we
材料的
hope
方式，
that
比如叫1D 用材，就是它是一个非
the
常线性的。
first D
到现在我
use
们
of
可能有的时
material
候再
can
把
really
垃圾回
transform
收回来
because
再
it's
利用，
really linear.
但是针
Sometimes
对
we
一个
get
材
the
料，它其
waste
实还是
back
一个不
and we
断的针
reuse
对
it,
单一材
but
料的循环。
for a
那如果
single,
这些无
it's
数
just
个
the
大小
cycle of a
的
single
2D
material.
的循环，
But
好像
if
一棵
we
树的根
can
部长
have
部分一样。
transform,
那我
if
们
we can
有树叶
transform
的
to
循
2D,
环，有树
it's
干的
just
循环，
like
有土
the
壤中微生
circle
物
and
的
a
循环，
tree.
泥
So
土的
we
循
have
那
the
个
circle
蚯蚓的循环。
and
那这种情况
cycles
下呢，我们
of
就可以能够
the
让人类
germs,
使
the
用材料的系统就很像一棵
the
大树一样，
microbiomes,
它
and
是一个非常有机的形成一个平衡的一个状态。
it
所以
will
这是
be
我
just
们
like a
想要的一
tree,
个，我
and
们
it
把
will
它
be
叫做 3D，
organically
也就
balanced.
是我们英文
And
叫 body
for
nature， 其实就是希望人
if
类
we
未来
go one
做
step
材料
further,
方式可以
it's
更系统化
3D.
的向自然
So
生
we
态系
can
统。
have the
那这里面你可
three-dimensional
能会有一个疑问了，
kind
那
of
我们如
cycle.
果把垃
So
圾
you
作
may
为一个
have
原
this
料，它
question.
就一定是一
If
个更
we
好的材料选
use
择吗？
the
它就一
waste
定
as
是
the
一个可持
material,
续的材料吗？
is it true that
那
all
举一
recycled
个这个
materials are
例子，
better
大家可能
alternatives?
现
So
在
I
在
have
超市
this
中会看到非常
example
多
for
这
you.
种小麦
So
秸
you
秆
may
的
see
塑料
a
餐具。
lot
那他
of
们声称呢，就会说这个是可
plastic
降解的，
utensil.
这个是环保
So
的。
it's
但事实上是不
biodegradable.
是这样的？我们拆解一
But
下这个
is
材
it
料，其实
truly
它来
like
自于
that?
小麦
So
的
if we
秸
break
秆
it
加
down,
上 PP 的
actually
塑料，
it's from
所以本质
the
上
wheat
呢，它还
fiber,
是塑
and
料，只不过
it
把
has
小麦的
some
一部分的成分加进去了
polypropylene.
而已，增加了它的
So
比
actually
例。
it's still plastic,
所以它相当
but
于打的这个
they
概
added
念，
some
因
fiber.
为
So
它
it's
是塑
just
料，
kind
所
of a
以不是可
concept.
降解的。也正
Since
因
it's
为如
plastic,
此，
it's not
其实
actually
在某种意义
biodegradable.
上，我们如果从
So
回
on
收的
some
角度
level,
看，它还
from
不
a
如用提
recycling
供
point
塑
of
料，
view,
因为越
it's
纯
even
的
no
材
match
料越
for
回收价
pure
值更
plastic
高。如
because
果你往
pure
里面只
plastic
加了更
can
多
be
的小麦
recycled.
秸秆，
But if you
相
add
当于往塑
more
料里
wheat
掺入
fiber,
了杂
that's
质，它
like
的回收
you
反而
get
变得很困难。
impurity in the
所以环
plastic.
保这个
It's
也
even
不存
harder
在。所以这
for
是
us
我
to
们说到
recycle
的
it.
典型
So
的
it's not
greenwash 的一个现象。
actually
那再举
environmental.
一个
So
例
this
子，
is
大
just
家可能现
greenwash.
在都说到
And
各种各样
another
的塑
example.
料，
So
那塑
when
料
it
就一
comes to
定是有
plastic,
罪的吗？
doesn't
是不
mean
是一个
that
罪
is
恶的材料
plastic
呢？
a
那
guilty
塑料是
material.
20世纪初的时候我们
Plastic
研发
actually
出来的，对
was
不对？
developed
那
at
人类
the
相当于
beginning
从
of
石
the
油衍生
20th
出了塑
century.
料这种类别。
So there
但是
was
呢，我们
petroleum, and
其实
then
真正污染的
plastic
形
got
成，
made,
可以说一个标
and
志物
it's
是
just
塑
a
料袋。
category of material.
那
But
可能大
actually,
家会知道
one
这
of
样的
the
一个故事：
pollutant
塑
or
料袋
contaminant
在
is
60
plastic
年代被
bags.
发明出
So
来的时
in
候，其实它的本
1960s,
意
when
是为了
plastic
保护
bags
环
were
境。
invented,
为什么呢？
actually
因
it
为
was
生产
aiming
的
at
塑料袋
protecting
它所
the
耗费的原
environment
材料
because
和
the
生产过
material
程中
used
的
in
能耗，
plastic
相
bag
对于传
and
统的
also the
纸袋
energy
或者是
waste
纸做的袋子，
used
其实
during the
它要更
production
低的。
compared
所以
to
它当时
a
被设计出来
cloth
呢，就是要
bag
循环这
actually
一
is
块。
lower.
因
So
为循
actually
环
plastic
用，
bags
所
should
以塑
be
料袋相
recycled.
对于布袋和纸袋是一个
And
更好的
if
选择。
we
但恰好
recycle
就是因为
the
它特别
plastic
的价
bag,
廉物美，
actually it's
大家就
a
会用
very
完就丢，
good
用完就
option.
丢，甚至未
But
来
since it's very
大家有
cheap,
个丢
so
成习
people
惯了，
just
去
throw
卖
it
场看
away,
到会
and
说
they
有
formed
超
this
薄
habit.
塑料袋，这
And
个就更加
then
加
the
重了现在的
manufacturers
塑料污染问题。
are producing
所
this
以
ultra
说，塑
thin
料本
plastic
身这个
bag,
材
and that
料
even
它并不是有罪
really
的，
contributed
反而
to
是
the
人类使
waste
用它的
of
方
the
式能够
plastic
变
bag.
对。
So
包
plastic
括另
bag
外一个
is
例
not
子呢，就
guilty.
是我们
People
说
are
一次
guilty
性的
in
纸
the way of
杯，
using that.
很多人都觉
And
得
also
纸
for the
杯是一
single
个好
serving
的东西，
paper
没有
cups.
用了纸
A lot of people think that
但
it's
是呢，
good, right?
其
It's
实纸
paper.
杯为了防水，它的内
Actually,
部
for
就会
paper
附上一
paper
层
cups,
PE 的塑
to
料膜。
get it
那这个压膜的
waterproof,
材料
there
相
is
比，它就
the
形成了一个
PE
复合物，就是
membrane
一个指数
inside.
复合物。
So
哪
that's
怕我
kind
们
of a
不用
composite
这个，
material.
其
It's
实它
paper
都是
plastic.
在我们国家
Even
已
if
经
we're not
被划作
it,
不可回收的材
we're
料
not，using it,
因为它要分离
actually it's
塑料和
not
纸为相貌
recyclable
的不
because
所以
it's
在
really
这个
hard
角
to
度上
separate the
不一
two
定塑料就是
material.
不好，也不一定
So
是就一定
from
是
that
全好
perspective,
所
plastic
以
and
还是要
not
看
necessarily
综合
bad,
的去
paper is
看
not
它的生
necessarily
产
good.
包括它
We
的
have
回
to
收过程
comprehensively look
所
at
以
the
举了这些
production
例
and the
子，可
recycling.
能大家在过
So
去
with
看
so
到
many
各种各样
examples,
的材料的名
I
词
think you
会
all
讨论
saw the
循环
different
材料
names
包
of
括最早的
material
环
like
保材料现
recyclable
在我们在
material or
说再
environmental
生
material.
可再
Now we
生
say
回收可
recoverable
回收
material or
这些概念都特
recyclable
别
or
的多
recoverable
但
material.
是是
There
否
are
我们
all
可以暂
kinds
时
of
抛弃掉这一
concepts,
概念
but
我
can
们
we
理
just
想一
live
下
without the
返璞归
concepts?
真回到我们
Let's
选
just
择
come
材料的
back
原
to
点
the essence.
我们到底想要什么样的材料
What kind of
我们
material
要
do we
选择什么
want?
样的材料来替换我们现在的选择呢
What kind of
其实无
material do
非
we want to
就是
use
这么
as
几
the
大点
alternative
不同的
for
人可能
the
他选
existing
择的因
material?
素
So
会
there
不
are
太
the
一样
several
但是呢
elements.
大家都在意
People
的是
choose
健
because
康
of different
都在
things,
意这个
but
东
we
西
all
要
care
耐
about
用
health.
都在
We
意这个
want
东
good
西要符
quality,
合我们的预
and
算它
we
要
want
符
it to
合我
be
们的
within
审
the
美
budget, and
但
also it
相
needs
反
to,
环保这个点似 乎
be
是
in
大
line with
部
our
分人
aesthetics.
无论
But
他是企业还
eco-friendly,
是
it
个人
seems
在
that
采购的
for
过程
the
中在
enterprises or
选
the
择的过
people,
程中
when
比较
they
少
make a
去考虑这
choice,
个因素
not a lot of people
但
would
是如
think
果我
about
们可以让一
eco-friendly.
个材料
But
它
if
能够
we
在
can
这
make
些
a
层面上都
material
做到特别好
very good in all those aspects, and also inside the market, compared to the commodity or other products, even if a user doesn't care about eco-friendly, they will still choose the values on the new material. Then maybe we can put eco-friendly as an inner value and promote that. So our mode is that even if a person doesn't care about the environment, the person doesn't know how to do to reach more sustainability, they can just use the traditional way to choose material and naturally get a better result for the planet. So from 2018, it's been 4 years. We are looking at different kinds of material, and we screened and we got several standards on what kind of material is considered good. We all know about the concept of life cycle, right? So the source is the raw material stage. So we hope that at least 20% is from recycled content, from the waste. And we hope that we can use locally sourced waste, and we want to use minimum types of material. And during the production, it needs to be produced in a responsible way, and also it needs to be caring for the health of the producer, and it doesn't harm the worker's health. It's not just like a formaldehyde on standard, it's zero VOC or zero formaldehyde. And during the usage, is it really biodegradable very quickly, or can we recycle most of the material? For those things, they are very general, but for the complete screening process, it's more complex. But when you see those points, you may be very confused. How we understand, how we get to know the material, is it always that complex? So we have several simple concepts. So the good materials are healthy for humans, healthy for eco, and healthy for economy. So for healthy for economy, that means it can be massively produced, and the economics compared to the similar category, it needs to be competitive. That is the healthy for economy. Otherwise, it will never be the mainstream. So as long as they are in the overlap shaded area, then it's a good material. And of course, for sustainable material, there is no standard definition, but this is our view on sustainable material, which is better material. Maybe one day, we don't need to say sustainable before the word material, because this material is one of the mainstream choices rather than a trendy like a niche choice of sustainable.
So just now I said I started with a background of nanomaterials. So my fundamental research is with my background. And during the process, I found that there are quite a lot of good materials that were buried in documents and literatures, but not in our real lives and applications. And many designers actually wanted to use such materials, but it seemed pretty difficult to find out about them. So we wanted to be someone, the designers, so that we can allow the designers to use better materials if they want. And so we have found that the market and the space requires different materials as well. We wanted to be that bridge. At the same time, if the scenario through our efforts and through sustainable designs could be better, or if the material, it uses recycled material, but what if its content is using petrol material using as an adhesive? So can we use it, but by replacing that adhesive within the material with something that is of a bio-based material? So in 2018, therefore, we created the sustainable material design in 2018. Our basic purpose is to solve the problem for business clients from the perspective of materials and sustainability. Now we have two ways of doing so. One is material replacement, which is simple. You use a certain type of material and you have a design requirements and budget requirements, and we help you to find something to replace your original material to fit into your budget plan and your functionality requirements. But also we wanted to help the enterprises, the process to be more accelerated and less communication cost when it comes to material changing. Like in the past, those clients would give designers a material manual so that they have to read it carefully and come back with a lot of questions. And that's quite a lot of communication costs between them. And I believe this is one of the reasons why a lot of designers and brands would like to use sustainable materials, but don't have time to understand all about them. So this is what we can help to serve: replacement of original materials. Another line we have taken on the right side of the screen, a lot of brands are not satisfied with using new materials to replace it. They want to leverage the wasted material out of their own production. If we can turn it into a new space, a new exhibition, and that's a closed loop we can build within an enterprise. So these are the two things we help our clients to do. And as I said, in China, there are quite a lot of materials that are up to that sustainable material standard. So we've made this collection pool, which we have lots of materials to replace the traditional plastics, wood, stone, fabrics, paper, and glasses. And here you can see that I don't have replacement for metals because metals are quite different, because it's the only material on Earth that can be remade without sacrificing its physical performance. And you can find that why in the waste collection industry, always there will be people collecting metal for money. And this is why we don't have to worry about that. And you may really wonder what would this material we have would really look like. And here we have taken some pictures of some of those materials we've got within this bank. This bank or this collection, it's not a library because we're not a material supplier. It's more like a material library for the designing companies. Now we just focus on domestic material, so we do not do the importing of overseas material because we do not carbon emissions through oceanic shipping. And because, as I said, it's a domestic material system, so we have united the hundreds of Chinese local factories to develop the different solutions for the different requirements. And within this system, we can have the R&D, the production, and the recollection of those sustainable material systems. And R&D doesn't only cover material, but other like furnitures or mechanism and equipment, etc. And our core competency here is our know-how about those materials. We know how to create those materials. We know which original material that the clients were using can be replaced by what new materials that are more sustainable. And we help our clients to do a fast and cost-effective R&D within 4 to 8 weeks. And the budget is pretty low as well, thousands or to tens of thousands of yuan, much lower than their own R&D process. And here, let me take a look. Let me help you to take a look at those ones. Yuxi, please remember to control your time. Okay, I think I have 5 minutes left. Is that so? Time's already up. Or you can have more time during the Q&A session. Okay, so I'll just show you some pictures. Plastic, stone, wood, paper, glass, fabric. As today we have a fur-free, so we have those replacement for leather and fabrics made from fruits and vegetable peels such as apple and a pear. And this is from a waste events balloons, which can be made into shoe bottoms. And this is the material we used from wasted PET bottles. But we added the temperature-sensitive, UV-sensitive, and fluorescent materials without emitting any wasted water in that dyeing process. And I have more cases to show you in the Q&A session, and how do we turn wasted textiles from garments into a new shoplift. Well, I think this is already from very nice sharing how you can help the designers to do innovative designs, even bring a lot of innovation to the industries, all the way from designing to consumers, how you bridge them together. Especially I moved it with your notion there. What's a good material? Do you mean that the plastics are always bad? It's not necessarily so. These are all things that we need to really study of. And we don't have unlimited resources on Earth. Apart from for free, there's other things we need to do. Overconsumption is also something we must try to avoid. As every individual consumer, let's help those others by doing our own business well, provide higher quality garments so that we can use them for a longer time. Okay, Dawn.
Oh, thanks, Pei. Yeah,